Good night and welcome to another review of The Shield Doing the Couch. I'm Hector, The Shield Doing the Couch, and tonight I'm going to talk about a band from Puerto Rico called Zafakon. They just released this last Friday a surprise album, their third album, and I must say that I knew that they were recording, but it was a great surprise to have new music from Zafakon. The new album is called Aftermath, and as I said, they're a band from Puerto Rico. They play a death thrash metal sort of style. Their last album came out in 2015. It was called Release, and after that, they had some lineup changes. They changed the bass player. Now they have Jose Gutierrez as the bass player, and after they release and they obviously played for that album, there was hurricanes, lineup changes, and of course that made the process for a new album be slower. But now the new album is here, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. I'm gonna talk about what I like about the album, maybe something that I didn't like, and our overall opinion of what Aftermath is. So I have to say right off the bat that I think this is a very strong album, and I'm very pleased with what they put out with this release. So Aftermath is an album that has 8 songs. It's like 42 minutes in length, so it goes by pretty quickly. The album, to me, they experiment more with some prog elements. So there's death, there's thrash metal, and there's prog elements in this album that I think make the songs stand out and kind of differ from what they used to do in the past. I know that with Release they did start to dabble in some prog on that release, but on this one they fully embraced it, and I think it makes the band more exciting because thrash can be, thrash is awesome, but it can be quite limiting as a band. But when they bring these new elements, I think it brings something else to the band. And don't be afraid, if you like thrash, don't be afraid. There's thrash on songs like Cancer of the Mind that's full of thrash on it. But there's a song like Aftermath that starts the album, that starts more slow, then it has that thrash, it has those death elements, especially in the vocals. Marcus' vocals are on point on this album. His delivery is great on these songs, and it shows. And that song Aftermath has the prog elements and everything sprinkled within, with a starter that's a pretty long song, almost 7 minutes. And with that song, you know what you're getting yourself into with this album. Also, this album has some great soloing on it, especially on a song like Burning Black. That song is a pure thrash metal with some obviously changes and some proggy elements to it, but at the end Jan does some great solo that's like really, it's a solo that's not like a super fast solo. It takes its time. It's really it really builds, and it felt like a very classic rock type of solo, and I think it ends that song so beautifully, and I really love that solo on that album, and that's something that's very different about this album. Also, they do experiment with some clean vocals. That it's something that they didn't do in the past on songs like The Revenant. There has some chorus vocals when there's some cleans added to it, and it really brings out the difference between the cleans and Marcus' vocals, which are usually more death metal style. And I thought that was another standout track. Then the album even has an instrumental called Ink Ribbon, and that instrumental is really slow. It takes its time. It's like 2.5 minutes, and it builds to what is the highlight of the album for me, which is the last song, The Pale. The Pale is an epic 7-minute song, and oh my god, on those 7 minutes they do not waste time. They throw everything but the kitchen sink to that song. The guitar riffing is great, the singing is great, the way the song builds, it starts building and picking pace, and then it just goes full on thrash and experimental all the way through, and it's really ends the album on a really high note for me, and that's why it stood out for me as a song. Now let's talk about what I thought maybe wasn't so good about the album.
So if I have to nitpick a little bit, the album has 8 songs, and out of those 8 songs, obviously one is an instrumental. I thought that, you know, I would have liked at least 2 more songs, and although I do like the instrumental, I like, you know, listening to people singing, and since it's a shorter album, maybe some 2 extra songs would have like rounded it out, and I would enjoy it. But I'm very happy with what the end product is. And another nitpick that I have to pick is with the Cancer of the Mind. It is a great song, great thrash song, but at the end they started to experiment, but then the song ends abruptly, and I thought that that was a song that still could have played on for at least a minute and a half, and they could have experimented more, and I think that would have added to the song. It's not a bad song, but I think it felt a little bit unfinished at the end. But that doesn't take away that Aftermath from Zafakon is a great album that it took almost 8 years to come out, but the end result is very good. And I think if you don't know Zafakon, it's a band that you should check out because they played great death thrash metal, and of course they experimented more with some prog elements on this one. So if you're liking my videos, you know, give me a like. Likes are free. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe to the channel, and you know, maybe you can learn something, or we can talk about music. Comment, let me know what you think about Zafakon. Did you like it? Did you think it was okay? So until next time, I'm Hector, the Shield Dude on the Couch, and I'll see you here right next on the couch. Thank you and good night.